This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
If you're a regular viewer of our show this season, you may have noticed something very peculiar. We have not done one episode from one of my favorite fishing locations, Lake Texoma, up on the Oklahoma-Texas border, and there has been a very good reason for that. Hi everybody, I'm Barry Stokes. This is your Southwest Outdoors Report, and a big shad kill this past winter during the cold weather months has dramatically impacted the fishing in a negative way at Lake Texoma. And on today's show, we revisit the lake just behind me to check in and see how the striper population is reacting and recovering to such a devastating shad kill. And while we're doing that, we're taking you around the region for your very latest fishing reports from Brian Hughes, Texas Freshwater, Bill Olson on the Texas Gulf Coast, Cajun Phil and Kevin in Louisiana, and Gary Dallahan in Oklahoma. Also this week on the Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week, we tell you about another fishery that has dramatically improved over the last couple of weeks down in Louisiana. On Barry's Real Fishing this week, we show you how the Share a Lunker program is helping the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And on the Big Catch of the Week, we've got two big largemouth bass from West Texas. So right now I'm headed in the Nitro Z8 out onto Lake Texoma to check things out. In the meantime, here's Heather back at the FSN studios with your Chevy Weekend Planner.
The Solunar tables indicate the peak daylight fishing times this weekend will take place around sunrise and sunset. Prime hours on Saturday will begin about 6 o'clock in the morning and again at 6 o'clock in the evening. The best times on Sunday are going to start around 6:30 a.m. and again at 6:55 in the evening. The sun is going to be rising at 7:32 and setting at 6:53. Evenings are going to feature a waxing moon, 67% visible. Now I'm going to get you back out to Barry.
Thanks very much, Heather. We've made it out onto the lake, and let me explain a little bit of the history of what's happened here at Lake Texoma over the past year. As you well recall, we had the 8th coldest winter on record in North Texas, southern Oklahoma this past winter. And what that did was killed off a large percentage of the threadfin shad population. Now there are two kinds of resident shad here in Lake Texoma, and I've picked up one of those. This little guy right here is a threadfin shad. Of the two species, he is the smaller. This one's only about 4 inches long. They don't get a whole lot bigger than that, maybe up to about 5 or 6. Now the other species is a gizzard shad, and some of them will weigh up to almost a pound. When the water drops as cold as it did last winter, these guys begin to die off in big numbers. And this winter killed off the vast majority of these. All that left was the big gizzard shad, and the smaller stripers can't eat those. They're too big. And so they've basically wasted away over the summer months for lack of something to eat. Let me show you a couple of the baits that I'm going to use today. If you're coming here, a small swim bait that mimics that shad would be good, a top water in case the shad come up and start busting at the surface, and then two kinds of spoons, a little small 1/2 ounce jigging spoon, and then a big larger 4 or 5 inch spoon will work well. So we're going to give this the old college try today, but I'm not making any promises because the fishing has been very, very difficult here at Texoma. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll get to your regional fishing reports, maybe hit your favorite lake.
This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
Oh, there's something. Little striper, I bet. Yep. Well, there is a little bit representative of what's going on here. By the way, welcome back everybody. Your Southwest Outdoors Report today, coming to you from Lake Texoma. Local guides who've been fishing here all summer long have just said there's tons of little small stripers and they're very skinny. There's a prime specimen of what they're talking about here. Just one bit my other one while it was just laying there. They just don't have much to eat. Now the threadfin shad population is coming back. In fact, I want to show you a shot I took just a couple of seconds ago of my Lowrance HDS 10 back there. And you can see there are some big balls, some big schools of shad, and those are threadfin shad. So the population is coming back, and those things will spawn 2, 3, 4 times a year. So they are populating and they're coming back in the lake, but it's just taking some time, and the fish are having a hard time catching up. Okay, let's let that one go back. And we'll check in right now over in Louisiana with Cajun Phil and Kevin.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fish Report. Wow, man, this cool front we had has turned on fishing just about everywhere. Matter of fact, I have so many places to talk about, I better talk quick. Let's talk about Toledo Bend real quick. Remember I told you they were drawing the water down to fix the dam? That's been done. The dam is now prepared. Keep in mind, the water is low. It's a little dangerous running around the lake, but the fishing is awesome on Toledo Bend right now. Now we just got to wait for Mother Nature to fill it back up. As far as the saltwater action goes, let's talk about Delacroix. I talked to Captain Jack a while ago. He said, Cajun, right now I'm limited out on speckled trout every day using live shrimp. Then we go out with gold spoons or plastics and catch all the redfish we want. He said it's awesome. Down in Venice, Louisiana, from Venice to Grand Isle, everybody we talked to catching monster, giant bull reds. They all along the beach. They said it's easy prey, topwater, plastics, whatever you want to catch them on. Right now from Grand Isle all the way to Venice is awesome. Until next time, this is Cajun Phil for Captain Kevin, who's out there on Calcasieu Lake, snarching, yanking the big old speckled trout right now as you and I are talking. Said happy fishing and may God bless. We'll see you folks next week.
Sam Calloway caught a 13-pound bass and won more than $6,000 from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Share Lunker program. But instead of keeping the money, he decided to use the prize to make a wish come true for a deserving child. Lydia Saldana has the story.
I never fished and this is my first time fishing.
Hope Avery Santiago is one of dozens of kids with a life-threatening illness who had her wish granted thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and one really big fish.
I never felt the bite. We were drifting again, the wind was blowing. After a few seconds, it started moving a little bit. I said, oh, this is a fish. And there wasn't much reeling. I mean, all you could do is just hold on it.
Calloway was fishing in the Permian Basin Oilman's Bass Invitational Tournament when he caught the 13-plus pound largemouth bass worth more than $6,500. The annual tournament has raised money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation for the past 16 years, so it didn't take long for Calloway to decide to donate his winnings to make a child happy.
This year, Sam Calloway, his wish came true with number 500 with a 34-pound fish, and you couldn't script it any better than putting that together with PBOBI, with Make-A-Wish, and the great job that Texas Parks and Wildlife has done with the Share Lunker program.
I got a fish! You did? Whoa!
Don't let it get out!
And it's Ashley with one eye.
Ashley Cooper was the 2002 poster child for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and volunteers at the tournament every year.
It's a great environment. I love the people so much. And it's not even just fishing, it's just getting to spend time with everybody here. They do such great things, and it's just like, I couldn't miss it. I just appreciate them too much. And
every April they come and they have the big fishing tournament, and that's where they raise the money that they're able to give back to us so that we can grant the wishes. But then they come back in June and they get to take the Wish kids fishing, which is really their passion.
Whoa, look at that!
And as long as Texas Parks and Wildlife continues to stock genetically big bass fingerlings in Texas lakes,
14 pounds and 87 ounces!
even more wishes may come true. For Fox Sports Outdoors, this is Lydia Saldana reporting.
it was Jackie, my fishing pole.
Stay with us. Brian Hughes and Bill Olson are on the way with the Texas freshwater and coastal updates. Plus, Mr. Crappie Wally Marshall joins us for the Strin Ask the Pro.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by Abu Garcia for life, by Navionics. We start where the road ends, by Whataburger, just like you like it, and by Mercury Outboards, #1 on the water.
Hey, welcome back everybody. We're on Lake Texoma today, checking out the striper fishing after one of the toughest winters and now toughest summers on record here because of the big threadfin shad kill. Now, I showed you earlier what those shad look like. Not enough of them to support the fishery, and I want to show you something here. I was driving down the lake and just happened to see a floating fish, and I circled back to see if it was a striper, and sure enough it was. And I want to show you this. I talked to Mark Thompson, who is a guide on the lake, guides here every day, and he said a lot of the big fish have just left, and there is what's happening to a lot of the giant fish. That's at least about a 12, 13 pound striper, something like that. And I don't know why that fish died. It would take a biologist to shed some light on that, but I will tell you that Mark says the biggest fish that's being caught, he said he had 36 guide boats out in most of the day last weekend, and the biggest fish caught was 7 pounds. So again, the fishery's okay, the population is okay, and it's coming back. The shad population's coming back, but the big fish just seem to be really, really scarce these days. So don't expect to catch any giants if you come up here, but it's good enough you can catch some. Okay, let's check in right now with Brian Hughes, see what's happening elsewhere in freshwater fishing in the state of Texas.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Brass and Blades, the bait with twice the bite. Now we've got some news from around the state this week, and we're going to start with the bad news down on Falcon. Due to recent tragedies, authorities are advising you not to fish Falcon under any circumstances, even on the U.S. side. And personally, I would include Amistad with that too, until our border situation is under control. Now, on to the good news. Share a Lunker program is open. If you can catch a fish 13 pounds or better, Texas Parks and Wildlife wants to reward you. Go to the website, download all the information so you have it handy just in case you're one of those lucky anglers this year. Now, each week you hear me say Brass and Blades, the bait with twice the bite. Well, what does that mean? Brass and Blade lures, including their spinnerbait, buzzbait, and this bladed jig, or jig and brass, are all equipped with 2 extra sharp hooks. That's where you get the bait with twice the bite. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Brass and Blades. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Killer Tackle by TTF, producers of the Stingmate Stingray Sting First Aid Kit and Jellyfish Sting Relief Gel. Don't go wade fishing without them. They're available at tackle retailers or at the website on the screen. Well, cool fronts are regularly pushing through the Texas coast. Water temperatures continue to fall into the 70s, and fishing is living up to its advanced billing. Basically, this is a time of year when anything in the tackle box will catch fish. However, with the fronts, anglers are once again faced with the winds dictating where they will fish. Quite simply, fish the protected shorelines from the north winds as fronts approach and move through. Once the fronts pass, high pressure settles in and the winds return to our prevailing southeast direction. That means areas in behind our barrier islands as well as flats and back lakes around the intercoastal are going to be good options. Redfish are feeding up on shallow flats with flounder activity also showing signs of increased activity from Sabine southward to the upper Laguna Madre. On the lower Laguna Madre, out of Port Isabel, Gaswell Flats, and south of Cullen Bay has schools of redfish as well as scattered speckled trout being caught. Around the causeway, anglers are catching mangrove snapper, trout, and black drum. This weekend, Saturday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by Nitro Performance Bass Boats. Fish your best in a Nitro. By Stren, the standard of dependability. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And by Motor Guide, never stop.